Oh, hello YouTube! Today in the Naughty Librarian, I am doing my mid-June wrap-up. So far so good this June. I've managed to read 6 books just in the first half of the month, so I feel like my numbers are going up. I have been able to pay attention a little bit better than last month. Like, I don't know what happened in May. It was just a shit show. But anyway, here we are in June, doing pretty well. And you know what? I think I've just been reading fun stuff for the most part. Some were like a little hit or miss, but we'll get into that. Let's go. First category is romance as a broad term, but there's also like 2 historical, 2 contemporary, 3 of them are queer romances, 1 is not. It's just all romance, but there's a lot of subgenres and I'm not going to do all of them. So let's go. First things first, I read A Scoundrel of Her Own by Stacey Reid, and you know what? I freaking love Stacey Reid. This series in particular is The Sinful Wallflowers. I think there's going to be more books in it. Fingers crossed, because there's still more Sinful Wallflowers to get, you know, their happy ending. So I'm hoping for the best here. So this is kind of like, oh hey, my childhood friend is now hot kind of situation, one of those tropes. So you have this Lady Ophelia, right? She is nobility. She, you know, like brought up rich girl. I think her dad is some type of nobility, like a Marquess or something. I don't remember what he is, what his title is, but she's titled. And this other man named Devlin Byrne, and he's basically a self-made man. He runs kind of gambling hells and other things, and he has made tons of money. Like, he's like stupid wealthy, and but like still he's not part of the town, he's not part of the nobility. So there's that like against him. Not the Lady Ophelia, she's not a snob, but like her family is. And the thing is, when Lady Ophelia was like a little kid, right? She was like in a carriage accident and like fell in a river, and this little boy saved her. And they kind of just like found this little like cabin in the woods, and they stayed there for like several days, just like kind of hanging out and pretending they're in their own little world. You know, they're kids. And it's Devlin, haha, but there you go. It's not really a spoiler, obviously it's Devlin. But you know, when they were really little kids, he's like, they promised to marry each other one day, you know, like kids do, but now they're both grown-ups, and like they could marry each other if they want to, but kind of not, because her family snobs and he's not a nobility person, and then she has to do stuff. There's other family secrets involved here that are very crazy. So I can't like give away too many plot points because of spoilers, but it's steamy. It's definitely steamy. Like, she doesn't hold back on steam. There's plenty steam here. And it's like, I don't know, I wish it was like funnier. There's less like antics here, but like the good thing about these books is that she gives like the relationship time to grow and develop. She doesn't ever have like insta love in her books. There might be an instant attraction, but there's never an instant love connection. Like, these people get to know each other, their relationship grows, and then they're ultimately much stronger for it in the end. And yeah, so I really had a good time with it. I think I gave it like 4.5 stars. I probably gave it 5 because I rounded up, because it's just fun. It's like a me time book. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. I wish it was funnier, but like, we can't have everything, you know. Also historical romance, I read A Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall, and I was so excited to read this one, especially for June. It's Pride Month. I wanted to read like a lot of queer romances, and I have been doing that so far and have been enjoying it. What makes this one in particular really, really cool is that it is a trans woman heroine and love interest in this. And I was really into that. So basically we have these 2 people. There's Viola and Gracewood, right? They grew up together. They were best friends. They even went to war together. Battle of Waterloo happens, and Viola was assumed dead. And Viola used it as an opportunity to let her old self die and like come out of it being the woman that she is. So there's a lot of like, there was a lot of hardship there. It wasn't an easy decision because, you know, she had to give up all of her like status and wealth and all of that because she wants to be her own woman. And one of the other things she had to give up with her best friend, Gracewood. And Gracewood did not take this very well at all. His best friend dying in this war. He has been a hot mess. Eventually, their paths intertwine again, and it's kind of, they have to come back to each other because it's like a childhood friends to lovers story, except one of them, hey, guess what, I'm not dead. So it's kind of like, oh gosh, I need to like recalibrate a lot of things here. But overall, I did really appreciate their romance with each other. I thought it's very kind of modern feeling, I think. They're all very open-minded in this. I like that her family just accepted Viola for who she was, and they never like had an issue with it. It was just like, oh, you're Viola now, okay. And she actually finds a lot of acceptance in the world. However, the story isn't about that. Like, it's a part of the story, but the whole story and even the conflict between them isn't necessarily because she's a trans woman. It's because, hey, guess what? I'm not dead. That's where a lot of like the trauma in their relationship comes from. Has nothing to do with the fact that she's a trans woman. So I like that their focus of the story wasn't just on like, oh no, will people accept me? It was more like, hey, we have other problems to deal with in this. So I really enjoyed it quite a bit. Honestly, it's overlong. It drags at points. That's the only like criticism I'm gonna give it. It's slow. Sometimes it feels a little repetitive. It's like, yes, we know this is a problem. It was a problem 50 pages ago and it's the same problem now, you know? So some things could have been cut out and it would have just been more streamlined. But overall, like, it's getting an A+ for like how it was told, the story being told, the steam level. It's kind of steamy at parts. I was like, okay, go for it. But yeah, I think it's really, really good. I think I gave it, I don't know, I probably gave it 4.5 as well. Round it up, why not? I had to take off half a point because it is a little slow, but overall, I thought it was really good. Sticking with this whole Alexis Hall thing, I'm going to come up to the modern day with boyfriend material. And this one, like I said, is modern contemporary romance. And we're following this guy, Luke, right? He's kind of, I don't know, adjacently famous. Like, his dad and his mom were like rock stars back in the day. So Luke is not a famous person, but his parents were. So like paparazzi and stuff, so follow him around. He's kind of just a disaster in life. And he needs to, you know, clean up his image in order to, you know, for something with his job, which honestly, we're not even going to get into the whole bucket of worms that is. There's a lot of homophobia in this. Obviously not the author's intent. The author's showing other people like how homophobia is just so prevalent all the time. So that's a trigger for you. You be aware that it is shown in the book quite a bit. And the way that they have to deal with that, you know, casual homophobia is a big part of the book as well. But anyway, like I was saying, Luke has to like clean up his image. So he needs like the perfect boyfriend, right? So enter Oliver, right? Oliver's kind of like a friend of a friend, but very much like the epitome of like straight, you know, laced guy. Like, I'm a nice boy. You take home to your parents. Look at me, I'm Oliver. And they kind of have like a rocky start to their relationship because they're so different. But eventually they like realize like maybe we're not that different. Maybe we've got like a lot in common. One of which is that they think each other are hot, which is like a good start. And overall, I think this is mainly like a moody book about feelings. There's a lot of like, I have trauma, I'm going to talk it out with you kind of thing. And again, another criticism for just Alexis Hall. This is my second one I've read by them, and I think they're overwritten. They're just a little slow. They drag at points. Conflicts are repeated. So again, that same kind of, you know, criticism I could give it. But overall, did I have a good time with this? Yes, it's hilarious. At times, I was laughing so hard. And hey, Amanda, how's the smut? I'm glad you asked. There's actually no smut in this, really. It's all closed door. So it's just like they're doing stuff and it's like vague descriptions and then like no description of the actual stuff happening. So just know that going in. But overall, I did really enjoy it. Again, it could have been streamlined a bit more, but it is what it is. I liked it. It was a fun time. I think I gave it like 4.25 stars probably, or 4.5, whatever, 5 stars. They all get 5 stars. One more romance I read, again, another contemporary romance, is Going Public by Hudson Lin. This is an romance, and I was a little nervous going into it, mainly just because this is like an office romance with like a boss and their assistant kind of situation. I'm like, how's like the power dynamic here going to be handled? They handled it so well, I tabbed it. Because he actually, the boss talks about it. So he says, there's a power imbalance here and I don't want to abuse my position. It's an exact quote. That's all you got to do in books, guys. I'm just going to tell you. If you're worried about a power imbalance, just have someone acknowledge it in the book. It's not hard to do. Besides that, this is Raymond and Elvin. And they've been like working together for many years. And like Elvin is kind of like demisexual, but has always a little bit had a crush on Raymond. And like Raymond's kind of been a bit, he's like a bed hopper essentially. And things happen in their careers. There's like corporate espionage. That's like a very vague term because I don't want to give away like what's happening in the book, but there's some shady shit going down and they kind of get into the middle of it. And, you know, a lot of late nights, a lot of like whispering, and it leads to like other stuff. So I do like that the power imbalance was like directly like talked about in the book and no one felt coerced. It was very much a very consensual relationship and like sex scenes were very consensual. So like I liked all that. Did I like the story altogether? Like, like it's fine. It wasn't anything like, wow, this is amazing. It was just kind of fine. Like, I liked certain parts of it, but other parts I was like, really? There are some parts of the story that are a little far-fetched, but I didn't dislike it and I didn't love it, so I think I ended up giving it like a solid 3 or maybe even 3.5 just because it's fine. There's nothing necessarily wrong with it. It just wasn't like doing it for me as much as I wish it did. Next category is adult fiction, and I read 2 of them. I read Hyde by Kirsten White, and this is Kirsten White's first adult book. Kirsten White has written like a lot of YA, and I was so pumped to get this book. Like, oh my gosh, I pre-ordered it immediately when I heard it was coming out. It's beautiful, like the cover's great, like the end pages are super cool, like the whole like concept of the book is great. However, do I think it turned out great in execution? Kinda no. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm kinda disappointed in it. I ended up giving it 3 stars because like I liked some of it and I thought some things were good, but overall it is just kind of a mess. There's 14 people and they all get locked into this amusement park, this old abandoned amusement park, and they have to stay there for 7 days. And the last person who's not found wins $50,000. It's like basically a big game of hide and seek, and they're kind of selling it like it's a reality TV show. And it's not, guess what? Because people start getting killed off very quickly in this world, and something is locked in the park with them. And I'll tell you guys now, it is supernatural horror, not slasher. I wasn't sure going into this. I'll just tell you guys so you know going in. It's supernatural horror. And here's the problem with the storytelling, I would say, is that it switches perspectives so often. Like mid-sentence, it'll just be like, da da da, oh, new character's talking, with no break. It's just like the perspective switches so quick and you're just like, wait, who the fuck's telling the story right now? Like, it's confusing, honestly. And frankly, there's 14 characters. You can't like have them all tell the story. That's too many perspectives. I would have loved it if she focused in on maybe 3 or 4 max and had them telling the story. But like, there's too many cooks in the kitchen here. And it's like, I don't know, like it had so much potential to be cool. Even the moments of like terror in this are few and far between. When it gets scary, it stays scary for like a long amount of time. But for so much of the book, there's not enough tension, I would feel. And I think a lot of it comes also from switching perspectives so quickly that you're cutting all the tension. Like, structurally, I feel like it needs a lot of work. However, the ending is good. So there's that. Like, if you really, really like the movie The Cabin in the Woods, I think you're gonna really like this book. But yeah, it's a really cool ending. I think that was dope. And I don't want to say anything about it because it is a spoiler, but like the ending is cool, and that's why it got 3 stars. It was almost gonna be a 2-star book, honestly, because like, again, I wasn't getting the terror. I wanted to get like the sense of dread, and I wasn't getting it. Nothing was like given time to sizzle. It was just like cut, and it like just destroyed any tension I would have had. So like I was saying, structural problems, but like some cool concepts, so it ended up getting 3 in the end. But like, overall, I'm a little disappointed in it. Last up, I read Circe by Madeline Miller, and this was the Patreon book club pick for June, and it's going to be a live show at the end of the month. Patrons and channel members only. The links to become either a member or a patron are in the description down below, so you can join in. And this month, this is our book club pick. And I hadn't read it yet, and I know this is like such a big deal book. So many people love it. It's the book of the year for 2018. It's 2022. Like, I waited several years to read it. However, it was the perfect time for me to read it because I just did the Odyssey for Drunk Classics, so I was still like fresh in that world to come into Circe, which is kind of just a little bit of a throwaway character in the Odyssey. She doesn't really have a lot of the story devoted to her, but basically she's a witch exiled on this island, and she turns guys into pigs, and then Odysseus shows up for a little bit. They basically took her myth but expanded on her backstory, why she is the way she is, and what is her motivation for things. They even get into like the Odyssey bit of it where Odysseus is there, / what happens after Odysseus leaves, because we don't get that info. In fact, even the info of what happens after the end of the Odyssey, because it kind of just fucking ends with no resolution, really. So like, what happened? So we find out a lot of what happened here. And like, honestly, if you watch my Drunk Classics, you know, I thought Odysseus was like such a dick. He was just the worst, kind of an asshole. And I feel like Madeline Miller fully shares the same opinion. Like, it was like eerie how like, I was like, yes, it's exactly how I read Odysseus. So like, a lot of her like characterization in here, I felt exactly the same way about these characters when I was reading the Odyssey, so I feel like a kinship here. But overall I liked it. I won't get into any more specifics because this is a patron book club pick, and I will be doing a whole live show reviewing it then. But I did really enjoy it. I think I gave it 4 stars in the end because, like, I don't know. It's slow. Again. And I read several books that were slow. This one just happened to bother me more that it was slow. But overall, I enjoyed it. But yes, full book review and discussion will be for my patrons at the end of the month. Okay, so that's all the books I've read so far this June. So far, so good. I have a lot more books to read for the second half of the month. I did something stupid, which was to save all of my really, really big books. Like, I've read all the smaller ones, and now I only have long-ass books to read. So hopefully I'll finish them all off. We'll find out together. But I have a lot of really cool videos coming out soon. I have Drunk Classics for The Great Gatsby coming out. I also have Drunk Classics for The Vampire Lestat coming out. So there's going to be some good stuff coming very soon. Let me know in the comments down below, what books are you reading for Pride Month? Are you reading any cool LGBTQIA+ books? What are they? Let me know in the description down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And again, if you want to become a patron or a member, the links are in the description down below. And on that note, I will see you guys soon. Bye!